What is it about music, whether listening to music or creating music, that comforts you?
I don't know. Since I was a kid, like I was telling you earlier, I really love music, and I just always felt like a good song is like a warm hug. you know, like I grew up with all older siblings, and they ain't really want to hang out with me. So like a lot of time, I tell people I felt like I was the only kid growing up, and most of the time, what I had was music, and a good song would keep me company. So it's just like it's something about good music that just hits like a part of my soul, and that's what I create music with the intention with. Like I create all kind of songs. Like I got pretty goofy songs that have zero meaning, but the stuff I usually gravitate towards is stuff that's gonna make people feel something, and that's gonna linger with people.
Stone cold nigga, I'm wired up like a cold brew. Wicks resemble a Goku.
You're watching Loud Music Only. I'm your host, A.T Bianco, and today we're joined by South Central LA's finest, an artist who has one of the strongest pens in rap, and a person who paints a picture and tells a story through his rhymes. His name is Wilson. Wilson, thanks for joining the show today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate it, dog. And there was some real kind words.
Oh, thank you.
I love hearing that.
I appreciate it, man. I try to put some thought into introing an artist in every interview. And I like to start every conversation I have with just asking you, how are you? What's life been like for you lately? What are you going through?
I'm good, man. I really can't complain, man. Everything is on the up and up. I've been, having a lot of exciting meetings. I've been making a lot of good music. I'm wrapping up. I'm finally wrapping up this EP, so I'm just trying to get the visuals and everything surrounding it together. And yeah, man, I can't complain. I'm blessed.
To start, I love to learn the lore and origin story of every artist I talk to. So tell me about your upbringing in South Central and, way before you started making music, what did you love doing as a kid?
Growing up in South Central, man. So yeah, before music, I was just like a regular kid, man. Just like hanging out with the homies. Played sports in high school, football, ran track, even played tennis. So I really was just like running around the streets doing regular kid shit. Not really too much trouble, but trying to the area I grew up in is pretty like heavily gang infested. So like I got a lot of homies from that life, but really just trying to like stay out of that, to be honest.
Now, what did you love the most about playing sports? I'm sure as a child and a teenager, even those are kind of distractions separate from maybe a rough area where you grew up. So, how did you find that in sports? You said you played tennis and football. What
Yeah.
positions?
So football, I was a wide receiver,
Okay.
played a little DB. But I grew up wanting to be. No one could tell me I wasn't gonna make it to the NFL. I wasn't going to the NFL. So that was like, as a kid, that was my main goal, trying to get to the league. And then you get to high school, and you see like, oh nah, it's dudes who are he going to the NFL. I don't even know if I'm going D2. So,
Yeah,
so
you
like
get
that,
to see that the
in
levels.
real time, you get to see it. Like, nah, yeah. Hopefully, I could go to college with this, but yeah, I learned real fast in high school. Like, I'm probably not going to the NFL.
Did you have like a bit of a rude awakening, like in a particular game, where maybe you were running a route on a DB that was better than you, or maybe you were guarding a receiver that cooked you on a skinny post or something? Like, did you ever have like a particular come to Jesus moment in the middle of a game?
So it wasn't during the middle of a game for me. It was like so my high school we went to like a lot of like 7-on-7 tournaments, and like we did a lot of like Nike camps and stuff like that. And that's when you see the difference. Like, oh nah, these, these dudes is faster than I am. They jumping higher than I am. They roast is better than mine. So I learned from those like first like going on trips with my high school 7-on-7 team. Like, yeah, it's not looking good for me.
As you know, I'm a big fan of yours. I first heard your music about a year ago. I came across 222 freestyle. think that song goes crazy. It's one of those songs that get you excited for the future of music. I tried to put into words what that song makes me feel, and that's what I came up with. I don't know if it makes much sense, but I wanted to share that with you. So then last year you dropped the method acting projects, Act One and
Mm-hmm.
Act Two, Blue Note.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the vision behind those projects, that series of projects, everything down the cover art, who shot it, the visuals you created. I'm just a big fan of any sort of visuals that an artist creates with a series of projects. So, talk about your vision for those.
To talk about those, I got to go back a little further to my project 1-800 Heartbreak. So
Awesome.
a lot of these songs that are coming out now or have came out is all like COVID stuff. Like I say, COVID was like one of the best things to happen for me personally because it made me like lock in. Uh, that first year of the pandemic, I was literally just sitting in my house knocking songs out, pulling up on homies like look, we don't have nothing else to do. Let's knock songs out. So it really made me like shape the sound that I've been having now these past 3-4 years. So 1-800 Heartbreak, I made that during COVID. Like 95% of those songs, I made those in my living room, and me and Cook came up with the whole vision for the project. I was like, I want to call it 1-800 Heartbreak. Um, Anybody that know me personally know my biggest vice. I don't do drugs. I drink, but I'm not like a heavy drinker. My biggest vice is women. Like so I was like, it only makes sense to make a project that's like the overall theme is my experiences with different women. So I made that project. It was received well, and then I was like, all right, we created this character. Cook came up with the helmet idea, like, yo, bro, like, you made a song Heartbreak Anonymous. We should play up on the anonymity part of it. Like it grew into more than that, but you should play into the anonymity of it. So I'm like, cool. So since this is a character, pretty much, this is the Heartbreak Kid. This is the character. My next project, I want it to be like a continuation of the story. Like I called it method acting because I was playing a role so much, I actually became this person, like method actors do. So it's just a continuation, really, of 1-800 Heartbreak, and I broke it into 3 parts because I just had way too many songs. Like I didn't want to put out like a 130 song project. I was like, why can't I just chop it up and do 3, 7, 8 song projects?
That's one of the most creative visions behind a series of projects I've honestly heard. I was gonna ask about the helmet because I know the helmet showed up first on 1-800 Heartbreak. So that was a little bit of a collabed idea with you and Cook on the overall vision for it. And the helmet just looks cool too. I was gonna say, even if it didn't have a point, that shit looks cool.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, man. That was a Cook brainchild. He came up with that whole thing. Um, him him and my homie Josh Cristales, they pretty much shoot all my video stuff. The only thing that I would say that they didn't like necessarily direct was my one of my latest videos, Wicks, and my manager Kev. That was his. He came up with that whole treatment, and we was just like, "Fuck it, bro. Look, you got this is what you want to do. We can run with it." So we shot that, but pretty much like all the creative is just like a collab of me and Cook's ideas. Like I call myself the idea man. I usually had like these outrageous ideas, like and running past him, like, what bro, what you think of this? And he'll tell me, well, this is probably realistically, I like the idea. Let me shape it a little bit because this is realistically what we can do. And that's how 99% of all the stuff ends up working.
That's awesome. So the cover art for method acting, you're holding a skull in it. Does that mean something to you? Like, because I know the skull kind of turns between
So
projects.
So it's like a callback to like Shakespeare. That was Cook's idea too. He like, well, you calling it method acting. It's a picture. It's like an old Shakespeare picture of somebody holding a skull. He was like, bro, I think that'd be perfect for it. So I'm like, bro, let's run it.
One of my favorite songs on Act One is Jody on Acid, featuring
Hmm.
Meechy Darko, Scotty LaJour. Talk about what went into that track and how you collabed with Meechy Darko. How did that come about?
So I've been on Meech for a while, like just being around, like we got a bunch of mutual friends. Uh, and I never wanted to get like I never felt like I had a song that was good enough to ask him to like be on. Like obviously Flatbush Zombies, I know he rap. He knew I rap, but I never really was like, oh, like bro, listen to this. Like, what you think it is? Or you should jump on this. It was like he was working on his solo album and he just wanted me and the homies around. Like he had a studio house. He was like, bro, pull up. Like, I just need vibes. I just want good vibes. I just want to have a good time and and so it's in different rooms. It's like different like studio setups. So he was in the main room working on a song, and I was in the garage. No, I was upstairs working on a song. I had wrote a verse to a Cooking Django beat. So Scotty pulls up. We're in the garage now, and I guess like everybody had just like migrated downstairs to the garage, and Meech was still in his studio room, and he came down like, "What's going on?" And he heard the beat playing. And he heard my verse, he heard Scotty verse, and he was like, hold on. I want to get on this. Hold on. And he knocked this beat out in like 15 minutes, bro, and it became what it was. Well, I have been sitting on that song since like 2021, 2020, and it was just like the perfect time. Every time he would see me, he was like, man, when are you dropping that song? When are you putting that song out? I'm like, bro, I'm holding it for like the right occasion. I'm not just trying to drop it and it be, it just get overlooked. I'm trying to hold it for the right occasion. And it worked out.
That's a great Meechy Darko impression. Great story, but that's a great Meechy Darko. I gotta clip that together. Yo, bro, let me get on the song.
But as far as like my solo stuff that's coming out, Method Acting Part 3, by the time this interview comes out, it should have just dropped or is about to drop. But yeah, Method Acting Part 3 is the final part of the trilogy, and it's like it's a good. I feel like this one is much more like energy. It's like these are the songs that I can't wait to perform, and it's like of course there's a lot of dope raps on there, but it's like it's more upbeat than the last two projects, and yeah, I feel like it's a good way to close it out.
So this is kind of a maybe like a hype finale of the method acting series, you'd say?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I can't wait to perform. I can't wait to hear people that I can't wait for people to hear these songs, and I also can't wait to like perform these songs for people.
Now talk about performing, your relationship with performing, your experience performing. What's it like for you to exchange energies between fans and, learn a little bit about yourself and the way you perform on stage?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm not the biggest fan of performing. I it's just like a lot. It's kind of a lot that goes with it. I don't like dealing with promoters. It's honestly not my favorite thing to do. But it's funny because I love like meeting people out in the wild. Like I love seeing people like find out about my music in real time. But the actual like politics of performing and dealing with headliners and such is not my favorite thing. I I've turned down I've turned down a lot of stuff just off the mere fact of not even wanting to deal with it at all. But it's like certain stuff like Sunday Sounds. It's too good of a look for me to just pass up on. But like that's why I tell people all the time that ask me when am I performing. I'm like, hey man, you gotta catch me when you can. You gotta catch me when you can when I feel like it.
It's so you would call it a rare sighting of Wilson on stage.
No, for sure, for sure.
I appreciate your honesty though, because I think if you ask that question to most artists, they're like, oh, I love performing, whatever. But for you, that was an honest answer. There probably is so much that goes into it mentally,
Yeah.
and maybe not knowing if everyone is there for you or if they're gonna vibe with a certain type of song. As you grow in your music career, you're going to do more performing. So, is there anything that you like to do pre-show to prepare to get on stage?
Uh, Not really, man. Pre-show, it's funny because people like the shows I have done, whenever I do perform, people always look at me like, "You nervous? Like, you good? Like, what's going on?" I'm like, "Look, man, I'm about to go up. I'm gonna go on stage and do my thing. Like, I like to keep it real light. I like to laugh and joke anyway. But yeah, like, let's not take it too serious. Let's I'm gonna be back there practicing my words, making sure I got everything tight. But for the most part, it's very loosey goosey. I want to laugh. I want to crack jokes. I want to bullshit around.
No, that's awesome because I feel like people want to watch an artist have fun on stage instead of, I guess, being nervous. But that'll take you far, especially as you keep performing. So there's a few other things I want to talk about, just music specific, and then we'll get into like a fun outro of the interview. I think
Okay.
it's kind of for me when I interview artists, I hate to like overanalyze artists' lyrics and assume something means something. So sometimes I just like to share lyrics that pop out to me and then get an artist's thoughts about them and maybe where you were at the time. So you say, "Yeah, I'm childish, don't want no kids or that picket fence. Who hurt me, dog? My soul dark and spirit need a rinse."
Um,
What in
man,
particular kind of what was on your mind that day when that came out?
just like having hard conversations with women, like, you know, I get I've dealt with enough women that I've had the "what are your intentions with me?" or "where are we going with this? Where are we going with this conversations?" And it's like I've never seen myself particularly as a family man. Like, I never seen myself with like a wife and kids and living in the big house. Uh, and then that saying that out loud, like when you tell people like, "I don't know if I want kids," people give you a kind of like a certain look, like, "What's wrong with you? What do you mean you
Yeah.
don't want to have kids?" And when I was writing that song, I was just like, "Yeah, maybe I'm just dark and my spirit need cleansing. Like, maybe I need help."
So another set of lyrics I want to mention is on Hurt People. You have, I think, the the most well-written intro to a song that I've heard in a very long time. So if I butcher these lyrics, please, don't get mad at me, but I want to break this down with you here. You
Sure.
said, "Well, it's the preacher's kid, been dabbling in the sinning life. Lord help me, I've dabbled in unhealthy type. Habits in pursuit of becoming wealthy, I'm Obi Trice. Hip hop's gem, I'm making the new rappers delight. At it 7 years, I'm battling with the fight or flight. After 10 beers, I'm spitting scripture. I may be Christ."
Hey man, 10 out of 10, bro. You got the you got 10 out of 10. You got the words perfectly. That was a 10 out of 10, dog.
And you said, "Well, it's the preacher's kid." So do you have an experience in church? Was your father a preacher? Or is that just something that you could kind of came up with?
um, so I grew up in church from like age 0 to 18, and I was in church multiple times, multiple times a week. And my mother is actually a preacher. She's super holy roller gospel, like spare the rod, spoil the child, spare the rod, whatever the saying is, type person for real. So, yeah, that was another song I wrote during COVID, like during the height of COVID. And I don't know like what headspace I was in, but like I said, I gotta hear a beat and the words just gotta come to me. And that was like the first thing that came to me. Like, I've been dealing with all these women, I've been having premarital sex. Let me get off. I know it's gonna drop on. I've been having premarital sex. I've been drinking. I've been wilding out. Like, so it's like I've been dabbling in the sinner life. Lord help me. I dabbled in unhealthy type habits. So it was just like somebody once said that it sounded like listening to my music sound like reading my journal, like
Mm.
reading my journal. So like I guess that was another one of those like journal entries. Like, I was just like expressing what was on my mind at the time.
Now, growing up in church, did you have to do things like go to confession? Was your mother strict with going to church? And I'm sure
So
it's a different life growing up in that atmosphere.
so growing up, I'm not Catholic, I'm Christian.
Mhm.
So we didn't have to go to like confession or anything. But like my mom was super strict growing up. Like anything bad I ever did was at other people's houses, like hanging out with my cousins, hanging out with my friends. But like under her roof, it's no back talk, it's no, it's no talking crazy. It's yes ma'am, no ma'am. Um, I didn't growing up. She didn't let me do a lot of stuff. I didn't go to parties growing up unless I was with other people. Like so, I grew up in a super strict household, and I was the last one of four. So she knew all of the tricks and games that kids play. So by the time it got to me, it's no, no, you can't do this. No, you can't go here. No, no.
What is it about music, whether listening to music or creating music, that comforts you?
I don't know. Since I was a kid, like I was telling you earlier, I really love music, and I just always felt like a good song is like a warm hug. you know, like I grew up with all older siblings, and they ain't really want to hang out with me. So like a lot of time, I tell people I felt like I was the only kid growing up, and most of the time what I had was music, and a good song would keep me company. So it's just like it's something about good music that just hits like a part of my soul, and that's what I create music with the intention with. Like I create all kind of songs. Like I got pretty goofy songs that have zero meaning, but the stuff I usually gravitate towards is stuff that's gonna make people feel something, and that's gonna linger with people.
Amen to that. Thank you for sharing that. It's not easy to put into words how music makes us feel. So that was
Yeah.
very well said. And to wrap this one up, I love to talk about this with artists. Maybe you want to manifest some goals or dreams you have for 2025. What are some of your biggest personal and musical goals within the next year?
Um, my biggest musical goal is just like honestly figure out a way to turn my business side on, and for me and my homies Cook, Django, Kevin, for us all to be able to pay our bills from music. That's my biggest goal. Anything else from there is like a bonus. I love a big house. I love a nice car, but like in order of my priorities, that's way out of there. I just want to connect with connect with more people, be able to feed my family and friends, and whatever comes after that is a bonus.
Thanks for sharing that. I think those are attainable goals, and even if certain goals aren't realistic at a particular time, the more work you'll put in, you'll get that. So I respect that, and I also respect your time. I've had you here for a while now, so I appreciate the time and the thought that you give into having a conversation with a random person like me, man. Thank you so much.
It's all good, man. I appreciate you for having me on. I appreciate the research and the digging you've done to for this. Hey, trust me, bro. I don't know how to put in the words how much I appreciate it, but I really do. I talk to my homies about this every day, but I didn't really realize like how many people out there actually is like listening and fucking with what we doing. And yeah, man, thank you.
Of course. And no, it's my pleasure. And thank you for taking the time to acknowledge that. And vice versa to you too as well. So this was fun talking to you. Ladies and gentlemen, to everyone at home, this has been our interview with the one and only Wilson. You got plenty of music to go check out, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, few projects, even his older ones are great. You got what, 1-800 Heartbreak, the Method Acting series, and be on the lookout for Method Acting Part 3 coming up here pretty soon. It might already be out, who knows? But
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. You're watching Loud Music Only. I'm your host, A.T Bianco, and this has been our conversation with Wilson. Thanks for keeping us company today. Have a good one.